Backpack Broadcasting continues to bring you the best original sports content, but now you can get more of the content you love. For as little as $3 a month, you can get access to bonus content, including behind-the-scenes footage and interviews from the Sports Walk, Sideline Stories, or the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. All this exclusive content comes via Patreon. There are tiered levels of patronage, and each Backpack Broadcasting patron receives exclusive perks. Your support helps Backpack Broadcasting create more of the original content that you love. Visit Backpack Broadcasting's Patreon page and become a patron today. To Tell podcast, episode 107. Dexter Henry, Brian Fonseca here from the Gotham Podcast Studio. What's going on, man?
I had a big night last night.
You had a big night last night?
I did.
Why?
I did. Remember the Side Hustle was screened for the first time.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Side Hustle was
screened.
screened.
a lot of now when you have something screened.
World Web Fest Mania. That was the event.
This is Web Fest Mania. Brian, this was your first screening, right?
Yes. This is the fourth selection, but first screening. Yes.
I had the Sports Walk in Season 1 screened for the NYC Web Fest before. Always dope to go to a screening. You get to see some interesting things there in terms of content, other things that people are creating, maybe things that you wouldn't even do.
Other stuff was good. Some of the other stuff was good. There was definitely some stuff that I would never do.
Right.
Not for better or worse necessarily. It's just not really my lane. But
it's still dope to see, man. Like, it's still dope to see.
And the two that won, there was a winner and an honorable mention. We were like the top 10 for this class, right? So there was 10 of us that got screened. So we were.
So they screened and announced the winners last night?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we were all finalists.
Okay.
And they picked the two, and the two were I felt like the most deserving ones there. Especially since like mine isn't really a film. It was the only one that was like more of a show, as you know.
I mean, that's still dope to get in.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I was like, and we're still getting into these festivals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we've gotten into others. There's another that's probably going to screen us, though. It's going to be later this year. And then we're still waiting to see on a few. It's not me. And then I'm still waiting to hear.
No, it's we. You had people work on it with you. It is we. So.
Like two.
It's still a we.
But like, yeah. But I'm just saying, we have more coming, perhaps, I want to say. But 4 selections, 3 finalists, just one regular selection, and we'll see.
This is after one season, people. One season, 8 episodes.
One season.
It's good.
And look, this is on my resume. This is on my LinkedIn profile. You know what I'm saying?
You have created some content. You hosted.
Everything is there. The versatility is there, but some people still want to front on your boy. It's okay.
People stay fronting. Actually, we'll get into this.
We got somebody that I want to talk to next episode about this.
We'll get into this another time. And I was talking with somebody on Twitter about this and fronting and going through the loops and holes.
Because remember Bomani Jones, he was talking about the coaching hires recently. He was saying, look, this is how it is for some black coaches. You're out here getting all this experience, like Eric Bieniemy, who we've talked about in the last episode with Jamal, and look at what happens. Look at the kind of dudes they hire just because they got that look or they think that they have it. What are you out here getting all this experience for? You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes
if you're black and or Hispanic or whatever.
Sometimes in this game you have to wonder about that. But a lot going on in the world of sports.
Just keep working at the end of the day.
You do. You gotta keep grinding. A lot going on in the world of sports. A lot we want to get to. First up, we got to get to this Major League Baseball.
Oh boy,
stealing.
Pissed
scandal.
About this.
I'm pissed about this.
You're red hot. Not that I don't care, but I definitely don't care in the way that matches how you feel about this.
The way
this is your floor.
No, the way I feel about this is a little bit different in how the people reacted to this, and how baseball has dealt with this. This will be a topic of this podcast, and about how news is covered for certain things.
Oh, okay.
And how things are covered in different ways.
Yes.
And different opportunities are given to people. I'm going to go with this. Let's give a little recap. If you don't know, if you've been under a rock, we do not talk a lot of baseball on here in particular. So
most of America doesn't, unless it's stuff like this.
So now this is big. This is a big time scandal. I understand Brian doesn't necessarily care as much as I do, and he will get to that and explain that. But there had been an investigation going back to the start of the offseason around the Houston Astros.
Right.
who won the 2018 World Series. Obviously, the Nationals won this past year against them, came back and won. The Astros were accused of sign stealing and using technology to do it. Now, I'm going to start off by saying this. Stealing signs in baseball, it's been going on forever.
Yeah.
I don't really care about people stealing the signs.
Me neither. Everyone's trying to get an edge in everything.
How you steal the signs, though, if you pick it up from watching something during the game, if you're scouting and you see something, cool. It's all good. Yeah. All in the game.
Yeah.
It's all in the game. If you are using technology and video cameras and buzzers, which we'll get to later, yo, that's not cool. That's not part of the game. That's not even fun.
I agree.
What are y'all doing?
I agree.
No.
But you know what's going on there. It's just, again, sports being a microcosm of society is people getting in from these analytical backgrounds and numbers and trying to dehumanize athletes and things like that. And it's basically them trying to, how can we get an edge here?
So I'm glad you brought that up because I think that's a good point. I think that's the link there.
Yeah.
I think the link goes to the game. Baseball's always been a numbers game. Let me say that by first.
Yes.
But I think the game becoming even more analytical, GMs having even more control in that way where they're telling managers how to set their lineups. We're going away from feel. I think that, I couldn't agree with you more. That leads to this. There's always cause and effect. It doesn't come out of nothing. Some of it is what you said. I agree with that too. People are always going to try to find an edge, right? But when you push and make everything so much about the numbers, you get to this point, right? It's so much about the numbers. It's so data-driven. It's so technology-driven. Now we're going to push the limits of technology into sport even more. And I think this is absolutely what happened here. So you got the Astros. There was this investigation by MLB through the offseason. Early this month, you see the investigation comes out. And implicated in the investigation are the manager of the Houston Astros, A.J. Hinch, also general manager Jeff Lunhow, and former bench coach who then also won a World Series with the Red Sox, Alex Cora, who was the bench coach there, and then also, now former, we'll get to this in a second, player on the Astros and former Mets manager, your Puerto Rican brother, Carlos Beltran.
And Alex Cora's Puerto Rican.
And Alex Cora's Puerto Rican. Jeez. I'm going to get to the racial dynamic in this that I think a lot of people
You think there is one?
Oh, yeah, I do. That'll play out. I'll get to that later.
Okay.
I think the racial dynamic is going to play out here.
Okay.
Everybody who did this and was a part of this is wrong. I'm going to be clear on that.
I
That's
agree.
the cheating is wrong.
I agree.
You can't do that. There was reports to be clear that they were getting video signals. The video coordinator was sending the message or calling down to the dugout. The players were then banging on trash cans, making certain sounds so that the batters knew what pitch was coming.
So ridiculous.
Now, if you look
Very elaborate and ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Now, if you look at some of the past World Series before that, where the Dodgers were in 2017 against the Astros and 2018 against the Red Sox, the Dodgers have a beef. We saw a couple of their pitchers implode. How do I know that Clayton Kershaw and Yu Darvish, who was horrible in that series, that they didn't look human because the Astros knew what was coming?
Oh, real quick. Did you see the splits?
No.
The home and away splits? Look at those. They're crazy. David Samson. No, not David Samson. When David Samson was on Levitard's show, they did a local hour. Mike Ryan pointed this out where I don't know the numbers exactly. I should probably pull them up.
So that I'm just guessing the Astros numbers hitting at home are vastly different for them hitting on the road because obviously they cannot use the technology that they're using on the road.
Oh, my God. It's very different. Like, if I pull up just Jose Altuve.
We'll get to him.
Like, I want to defend my guy. You know what I'm saying? But I can't on this one. No. And I only say my guy because, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's one of the only athletes in the world that I'm taller than. You know what I mean? Like,
Jesus Christ. Yes. But I was going to ask you about your short brother is not looking so good out in these streets.
See, I'm not going to lie to you, and I should have been out in front of this, but I was looking at the home runs that he was hitting, and I'm like, yo, I mean, I know he's a stronger dude than I am, but dogs, like, he's out here hitting like almost 30 home runs in a season or something like that, and I find that kind of hard to believe from someone who's 5'5". That's just me.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Damn, you're not even giving any love to the short people. I mean, can he live?
I'm a journalist at the end of the day, and I have to hold people accountable. I'm also like an entertainer, but you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you got to hold people accountable. So Jose Altuve, back to the postseason splits. Let's focus.
I'm very intrigued by these numbers.
Let's focus on 2019.
Because I hadn't even thought about the splits in home and road, because obviously the video coordinator is not is in the home ballpark for the replay and everything, so they wouldn't have their guy on the road. So this guy's always at Minute Maid Park in Houston.
Right. But that's where the sort of drop-off is. Now, I'm trying to I want to find the exact numbers, but Mike Ryan was saying something on Levitar's show, basically. I don't know if it was Jose Altuve or the entire team, but obviously Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa, like, these are their best hitters.
Yeah.
But they were saying, like, their average was something almost around 400 at home, and on the road it was less than 2. Something like this. So you're looking at like gaps that were
now,
a lot.
To let people know this, it's not uncommon to see players hit higher at home. But what you're talking to me is about a 150-point gap. That is kind of crazy. And most good hitters split pretty well home and road. We're talking like the elite hitters. They go look at Mike Trout's numbers, okay? He hits better, I believe, at the Angels Park, but he still hits pretty well on the road. You look at any of the good hitters in baseball, their splits, they'll always find a little bit more comfort at home, of course, but
here we go.
It's not the same. Okay, you got it.
Yes.
Here we go.
This is from 2017, so this is the year that they won that World Series. This is ridiculous. So, Carlos Correa's splits. We'll start with him because he's the first one I see here. At home, 378 batting average, 421 on-base percentage, 743 slugging percentage. So a slash line basically of 371, 421, and 743. On the road, 211, 231, 395. Right?
Wow.
OPS, 1.164 at home, 626 on the road.
Wow. Wow. Was that Correa?
Yes. 13 hits at home, 8 on the road. Not a huge difference there. 3 home runs, 10 RBIs versus 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. And then getting to Jose Altuve. This was the dramatic one that I was talking about. So it was even more so than I was letting on. At home, batting average, or I'll give you the whole slash. Batting average, on-base percentage, slugging percentage. 472, 513, 1,028, 1.028 slugging. So his OPS was 1541. Away, 143 batting average.
Wow.
143 batting average. So he was not only struggling on the road, he was slumping the entire time he was away from Minute Maid Park. 268 on-base percentage, awful. Slugging, 229. OPS was 497. So his OPS at home was basically 3 times what he was doing on the road. More than 3 times, actually. 17 hits at home, 5 on the road, 6 home runs, 12 RBIs at home. Again, 5'6". I mean, come on. And 1 home run, 2 RBIs on the road. Like, that's dramatically different. Especially Carlos Correa's is, like, it's crazy, but
it's not. It's the gap isn't as crazy.
It's not unbelievable.
Because Jose Altuve looks real unbelievable.
Yeah. You're talking about 472 at home, 143 on the road. Like, put it this way. If I'm playing against somebody in a video game and they're doing that against me, I'm turning off the game and I'm restarting because I'm like, yo, this is bullshit. Like, I would be so mad if everything I throw, if I'm killing you at my home turf, right, and then I go over there to Minute Maid Park and you're lighting me up, I'm pissed. I'm pissed and I'm not playing the game anymore.
So this maybe, you think the Astros have been, in the last couple of years, you understand why they've been so motivated to have the best record in the league and have that home field advantage?
But wait, there's more. Brian McCann. This is a really good one, too. Brian McCann, not exactly one of my favorite catchers ever. Batting average at home, and you understand why.
I do.
Batting average at home, 300. OPB, on-base percentage, 382. Slugging, 467, excuse me. So the OPS was 849. On the road, where his batting average was 300 at home, on the road was 037.
Wow.
His OPS was 198 because his slugging was also 37.
Let's put that in perspective. Putting things into perspective is, look, baseball, I think hitting a baseball is one of the hardest things you can do in sports. Okay?
Yes.
But if you know what's coming,
that's why it makes a world of difference.
It makes a huge difference.
Yo,
if you know what's coming and you can really know what's coming and you've studied these pitchers, you've watched the film, it is a huge advantage.
Yo, let me just add this, like, not to be funny and not to take this off the rails, and people may think that this is a weird example, but yo, in the show you can guess pitches. And when you guess correctly, fastball, curveball, whatever, it sort of lights up on your screen and you know it's coming. It's kind of the same thing it's kind of the same thing in real life. Now it's a video game, but like if to your point, if you guess, if you're sitting dead red, if you're sitting fastball, right? And you know it's coming and you know he throws 92 and it's 92 is on the way, like you're going to hit the ball most likely. You know what I mean? But if they're giving you a breaking pitch and you're expecting a fastball, you're not.
Right. And that's why you see guys get frozen, and this is why these things happen. Yeah. Now, Bryan said I'm a little upset about this. Here's why I'm upset about this. When the news came down after this investigation, and we saw the names of Lundhow, general manager of the Astros, A.J. Hinch, manager, Alex Cora, Beltran, all named, there was an announcement that there was a penalty. And the Astros lost some picks. They were fined $5 million. And was there anything else that the MLB did?
$5 million, the first and second round picks. I think that was it.
I think that was it.
Yeah.
And so there was all these people like, oh, man, MLB really came down hard on them. And I was like, what? No, they didn't. No, they didn't at all. They didn't do it at all. First of all, and I tweeted this. I didn't understand at the time. I'm doing this in order. I didn't understand at the time how those guys the managers and general managers who are responsible here. Let's be clear. They're responsible. They're the ones in charge. The players should do better too, but the general managers are in charge, and the owner. How the general manager and the manager could still have their jobs. I immediately said that. Why I was disgusted with just $5 million in draft picks, I said, this is not going to deter anybody to stop cheating.
Right.
How do we know this? We've seen this already. We saw this in football.
Especially in baseball. The draft picks are worth it to give up.
Right. We've seen this in football. The Patriots lost their draft picks from Deflategate, from Spygate. They were spying again this year with some suspect video guy on the sideline.
One day we're going to talk about how they basically cheated their way to all those championships.
Yeah, maybe. That would be great 30 for 30.
Because, we've caught them enough times where it's like, yo, all right, come on.
But they don't care.
And Bill Belichick is lauded as being ahead of the curve and smarter than everybody.
Oh, he's ahead of the curve.
But this is what you say about people who routinely do this kind of stuff. We're not going to get into it.
No, but my point in bringing up the Pats and the Astros and the Red Sox or any other teams, there's no incentive for them to stop cheating because the penalties aren't harsh enough. I'm sorry, $5 million to most of these owners, couple draft picks. You make a great point, especially in baseball. It didn't stop the Pats from doing it again. They're just being all reckless with the video. They don't care. And I didn't think this was going to stop anybody from doing it again. And I said, how do these dudes cheat at their job? Could you imagine if I cheated at my job? If I plagiarized, you think I would still be working?
Oh my God. Like that's
no.
Yeah, right.
So after that, I think there were other people like me on Twitter who had this similar outrage. About an hour after that, then it's announced that the owner of the Astros then fires A.J. Hinch and Lundhow. I don't think it should have been on the teams. This is what I was upset about, to fire the general manager and the manager. Baseball should have came down hard and said, no, there's no place for this in our game. You do this in our game. Now, I don't think they should have been banned for life or anything, but you ban them. A year, 2 years probably to be out the game. I think 2 years would have been sufficient for all these managers to be out the game. I do think you can't. They were in leadership positions. You have to be leaders, and you have to be held accountable.
And I think also there'd be a line for both of them on their way back in those 2 years.
I will get to that in a second. That's part of my annoyance. I'll get to that in a second. They had to do this. So then all this stuff came around. It's like, oh man, Alex Cora is going to be next. He's going to hit a punishment. Alex Cora and the Red Sox did probably what was best. They knew what was coming. They got ahead of it, and they agreed to part ways, which really means Alex Cora got fired. Then came Beltran and the Mets, and they agreed to part ways, which really means Beltran also got fired, right?
Not a couple weeks for Puerto Rico.
Another issue I have with the 1 year. This is why. You said there'll be a line for these guys to get back when they do it.
For sure.
A.J. Hinch has won a World Series. Alex Cora's won a World Series.
Yeah.
Carlos Beltran's won as a player. He's a good person.
One of the 10 best center fielders
Lundhow had some good drafting with his team. Altuve, Correa, go down the list. Some good trades he's made too.
Another organization lauded as being the smart organization.
Yeah, but they've had a lot of problems recently. Their assistant general manager with the sexual harassment scandal,
right? Which is getting swallowed up in all this.
Yes,
too.
it is. So maybe there's a problem with the Astros that we should look at instead of just looking at making excuses for these white dudes behaving badly. here's my issue with this. I do not think. I think people will come back to hire these guys, Hinch, Lundhow, very quickly. I'm not so sure Correa, Beltran and Cora will be afforded the same opportunities.
Yes.
I think that race plays a factor in that. I think Hinch, but I guarantee you, maybe not 2021, but maybe definitely 2022, somebody's going to be talking to these guys, the architect this, and this will all be forgotten, right? Meanwhile, it'll be interesting because the culture, you brought up steroids. We talked about this before we came on recording.
It was probably the biggest scandal since then.
We act like we can't let some of these guys from the steroid era who deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, like Barry Bonds, we act like we can't let them back in the game.
Right.
Because of that. And it's ridiculous. Right? Now, here's my other problem. This is the one thing I also wanted to add that I don't like about the punishment. The titles have to be vacated. They absolutely have to be vacated. Here's the thing.
I don't disagree with that, by the way.
You still mention that they happened. They still go in the Hall of Fame, but you put an asterisk, just like you should do with the steroid dudes. I've been saying this for a long time. You have to tell the history. You can't just erase history like it didn't happen, but the fans don't get to see a banner. They don't get to go in that stadium and be proud of that 2017 championship. I would say this if this was my Mets. You don't get to do that. You don't get to hang that up and revel in all that when you cheated the game. How do you think the Dodgers feel about all this? Probably pretty salty.
And they got cheated out
twice. How do you think they feel about this? And baseball, you know how we know baseball's got a bigger problem with this? Major League Baseball, why are you silencing the teams that they can't speak out on this? Because you know there's more teams that probably were doing this? Probably. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/AHTT. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Shout out to the fake Twitter account that might be Carlos Beltran's niece, but according to our friend Marley Rivera, she talked to the Beltran family. It says that Twitter account is not Carlos Beltran's niece. However, this Twitter account, claiming to be Carlos Beltran's niece, has reported a couple things correctly. She reported 4 days. I'm saying he. We don't know who the person is. Somebody else has come out and said that it's a player, anonymous player, who's running the account, which I still love this anyway. This is great.
Yeah.
It's messy.
You know I'm all for this.
I'm all for this.
Yeah.
So Carlos Beltran's niece or not Carlos Beltran's niece, whoever's running that Twitter account, I believe you. I'll get into this why.
I believe you.
4 days before Carlos Beltran was to be announced manager of the Mets, this person, whoever's running this account, tweeted that would happen. They were correct. 1 day before Carlos Beltran was supposed to step down as manager of the Mets, this person also tweeted, and they were correct. First person to report it, ahead of everybody else. This person has now come out and named that there are other teams involved in this, named players on the Yankees, talked about the buzzers that some people had taped inside their jerseys, including Jose Altuve, and we'll get to him in a second.
And it looks like a bunch of others around the league.
It looks like a bunch of others around the league have done it.
Videos that have circulated on Twitter.
What was reportedly being done is they were getting the signals from the video coordinator and being buzzed as to what the pitches were. So now you didn't have just banging on the garbage cans. Maybe it's one buzz if it's fastball, two buzzes if it's curveball, whatever. You're getting these things, and this is giving an instant, because your body is getting an instant reaction to it too. Not only do you not have to listen from the dugout, you can feel it. So you know, and your body can really react to it, and that enhances muscle memory. So you know, one buzz, I got to sit and wait on this. Two buzz, whatever. This account's been right before. Why do I not believe that they are going to be right about this again too? I'm sorry. Nobody else had this. Some people may not like the whistleblowing. I'm also not a fool. I do not think that Major League Baseball wanted other teams to come out in this. They wanted to isolate this, control this, and they damn sure didn't want players to be named in this because it makes it even more damning.
And that players' union is very strong.
Yes. Yeah. Can we talk about your boy Jose Altuve? Who I've met and spoke to before. Jose Altuve.
Did he strike you as the kind of dude?
Nah, I'm not. Actually, I was a fan of him. I don't like this cheating stuff. I still think dude's talented. I don't like this cheating stuff, although still splits are damning. This guy, what year was that when he hit the home run to go to the World Series? Was that 2018?
2018 or 17. I don't
remember.
Yeah,
one of the years he hits a home run. walk-off home run to go to the World Series. The Astros had this thing where they ripped off the player's jersey. And if you go find this video, you can Google it, easy to find.
Yeah.
He is rounding
you
third
can put
base.
It right here in the video version of this.
Third base to come around to home plate, and you see him hold his jersey, and he's telling the dudes at home plate, ready to mob him, don't pull the jersey off. And he kind of points inside like, don't do it, don't pull it off.
He said it in Spanish. He said camisa. So
runs into the tunnel to change into a shirt. Who does that after hitting a game-winning home run? Who doesn't enjoy it with their teammates?
Suspect. I honestly was disappointed that he denied it.
And then what did he do when he's asked? I don't know. It was Ken Rosenthal, whoever interviewed him after the game. Oh, you didn't want your teammates to take the jersey off. Why?
He said his wife.
He acted like he couldn't hear the question. He's like, what? He's like, what did you say? He didn't hear the question, which is.
We all know we've all lied before.
We've lied before.
You know what I mean?
Like you lied before and said what?
What?
So you can get a little bit of extra time to think about how exactly you're gonna execute this lie. Come on, I've done this before.
I haven't done it in years because I don't lie anymore.
Yeah.
But
you haven't lied about your height?
No.
Okay.
On my ID it says 5'7".
He's lying, folks. He's about 5'5". No, I'm messing.
My NBA height is 5'9".
Oh, Jesus
with sneakers.
Christ.
5'8" in college, 5'9" in the NBA.
Whatever.
When I create myself in video, okay.
You short people.
Speaking of short. Back to
Altuve. I have another short thing to bring up to you at some other point.
What?
No, it's something I thought about the other day. So Altuve saying that, and then he blames it on he got in trouble with his wife for being shirtless. Really? I'm not buying that.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I was disappointed that recently, wasn't it recently that he just came out and denied it? And I'm like, bro, just say nothing. Just show up to spring training and it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Do you think? I don't want to steer you off of the direction you're going into because I know you have more on this. But do you think the players should have got suspended?
Yes.
Correa, Altuve. 50, 100 a season. What are we talking about?
Season.
Yeah.
I
don't disagree.
This has to be serious, man. You can't mess with the integrity
treat
of the
it
game.
Like steroids, essentially.
Yes, and they did this stuff with steroids too. They had these slap on the wrist offenses and all this stuff first, and it's gotten better to where the game is right now. But this is something where you're messing with people's money, man.
And the thing is,
that's my thing here.
And if you don't suspend them for the season, what you're allowing is for them to come back and impact the latter half of the season, which actually matters. And if the Astros are 500, which aren't they a pretty good team? They're supposed to be better than that. But if they're 500 by the All-Star break or whatever, and then all of a sudden Altuve is back, Correa is back, and whatever. And now you're talking about...
Although maybe they come back and they don't hit the way they used to at home, and then that's even more damning.
I mean, maybe.
Correa, I think, is good. But
you know what I would do, though? If I was saying, I'll pick a team from the division, let's say the A's, and they came into my stadium, I'm bringing trash cans to the stadium or whatever. I'm banging on them. I'm not banging on them, but when they're playing...
Wait, if you're a fan...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm a fan of the A's, I'm bringing trash cans to the stadium. We're all hitting them every pitch.
You're not the only person to say that. Well, you are now giving more people ideas, and I think you will see some trash cans or people banging things all around the league.
Yo, Oakland,
the Astros,
Bay Area.
Now, then you're gonna have MLB ban.
Los Angeles.
MLB's gonna ban trash cans from being brought in the parks. There's other ways to get around it. You can bring a lot of stuff and knock it, and you'll find it. Look, I'm gonna wrap this up by saying yes. Managers are responsible. Players are responsible. I think the MLB now they've come out and said they haven't found any players responsible. I did find this interesting, and I wanted to say there was a survey done. I'm trying to remember who did the survey. It was a nationwide survey that included 1,010 adults, 810 MLB fans nationwide. This was Thursday and Friday. This was on behalf of ESPN.
Right.
58% of adults responded that Astro players should have been penalized by MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred, according to the survey. In addition, the vast majority, 72% of adults and 76% of MLB fans said they would support MLB taking additional steps to punish players who were involved in sign stealing. According to the survey, MLB fans are paying a lot of attention to the scandal, which this is the most attention I paid to baseball in the offseason in a while. I'll say that.
For me, since last year, because the Mets made that big deal, it didn't end up working out this year.
Fair enough. With 61% of the game's fan polled saying they're closely following the events involving the Astros and Red Sox, 1/3 of MLB fans say they might watch those two teams less. Oh, I don't believe that. Whatever. Y'all still watch.
I think the ratings are going to go up. What do you mean?
Though most Americans say the doping steroid scandal was worse than the current sign stealing scandal, I would agree with that. I think both affect the integrity of game. 86% view the situation serious. I do. 57% saying it's very serious. I'm into serious. I'm not in the very serious range. I'm into serious, but you got to take serious action. Very serious? No, I think I was more concerned with steroids because that also affected health. This affects the opposition, and money is the point I want to make too.
Yes.
Stats are everything for money.
Although steroids affect money too.
It did too.
Yeah.
It did too. And when you're affecting people, well, it also affects the confidence of people like you, Darvish, who's thinking he got smacked and he didn't really pitch well, and he may not have, but it also might have been a huge advantage that dudes knew what was coming.
And on a grander scale, Clayton Kershaw, one of the other pitchers affected by this, we sort of look at his postseason legacy, and we talked about it with Nick Pollock when he was up here. We look at his postseason legacy, and we pretty much discount, like, oh, we need him to do it in the playoffs, and maybe he could have if this not had happened the last couple of years.
And I still think there's more teams doing this. I think baseball doesn't want it to come out.
That's the thing. That's the thing with me. I think more people are doing this. The baseball is obviously trying to not let this come out.
Got some numbers for people that back us up. 60% of adults and MLB fans say that the scandals make no difference in their likelihood to watch MLB games, which I thought people are still going to watch.
People don't care. They want their escape from, whatever.
Around a third of fans say they're less likely to watch the Astros or Red Sox. Really, if the Mets are playing the Astros or Red Sox, I'm going to be like, nah, I'm not going to watch this game because the Astros or Red Sox are in it. No. Not going to do that. Some of these people, I don't believe you. Sometimes when people make stuff like that, it's serious, but
I want to know who they asking to.
Yeah, that's
true.
Yeah,
come on.
Roughly 3 in 4 Americans, 74% and MLB fans believe most teams were using technology to steal signs, but it's just the Astros and Red Sox who got caught. I would probably agree with that.
Yeah.
I would probably agree with that. I think there's more teams. A lot of teams don't want it to come out, and I think that's why MLB also told these other teams to shut their mouth because they probably was like, yo, we got more information. You don't want to implicate it too because you know what's going to do with more. Let's say a third of the teams in baseball were doing it. It's probably not unreasonable to say that was probably happening. You know what that? If a third of the teams came out and was doing it, that changes everything. Now, see, that's what takes it for me from serious to very serious. Because now, you know why the MLB doesn't want to come out? Because then I think most other people would feel like me where it goes from serious to very serious, and that would affect their money.
I think a lot of this is just going on because, as we touched on it at the very beginning of this, and to bring it full circle, was like, the analytics of this, the analytics of the way people are approaching sports in general, more and more people bringing people outside of their sports. Like, you're seeing less basketball people around basketball, you're seeing less baseball people around baseball, and you're seeing more numbers guys. And what they're brought there to do is get a competitive edge over their opposition. Legal or illegal, whatever, immoral, moral, whatever. They're going to do that, right? So if this is part of their role, what leads me to believe that the Astros are the only ones doing this?
Agreed.
I think there's going to be more people doing this. And I know people may say that, that's reckless to say, but use your fucking mind.
I don't think it's reckless to say because what we know is people, as you said, analytics driven, people looking for advantage. And at the end of the day, it always comes back to money, man. When it comes to money, people are always going to try to protect the dollars, and MLB is going to try to do that. Protect your dollars, protect your image, and that's what it's going to be. You know we like to hook our listeners up from time to time, and we have a hookup for you today. So for the listeners of the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. You can check out one of my favorite sports books, $40 Million Slaves, The Rise, Fall, and Redemption of the Black Athlete by William C. Roden. That's available on audible.com with hundreds of thousands of other books that you can listen to today. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/AHTT. Again, that's audibletrial.com/AHTT for your free audiobook. Talking about image of people, images are a lot different for different people at different times. Some people want to cover athletes a certain way. This is something Bryan and I are probably going to talk a lot about this year that we're about sick of.
I'm sick of a lot of shit.
It's about time we stop this stuff where we're covering athletes one way, but we're covering other athletes another way, and it seems like a lot of the difference in that, again, it comes back to it seems to be race. Now, earlier this month, not too long ago, this is a little over a week ago now, Julian Edelman was arrested, right? Julian Edelman.
You may be hearing this for the first time, by the way.
Maybe. Arrested and cited for vandalism in Beverly Hills. Vandalism.
He went on top of the hood of a car. I think a Mercedes-Benz, if I'm not mistaken, at 9 p.m. on an evening.
That gets black people shot. It's the same situation. If he did that,
if they're lucky,
yeah, and killed.
Like,
I mean, this is according to this was in front of a police spokeswoman. Jumped on a hood of a car, causing damage. There has not been a lot about this case. All we know that he's
really anything, especially someone with the history.
Not case, I should say, but
especially with the history of somebody who, after a Super Bowl win, was famously like not recorded, but there was a photo that surfaced of him sleeping with another woman, and people just thought it was, that's good for him. He's doing his thing. He's celebrating a championship. And in 2011, he had the whole groping thing that he got arrested and actually had a mugshot for. Now, they let him off in that case. I don't know what the particulars of that were, but people wouldn't care if there were certain other people, that had this incident come up, where he vandalized the hood of a car.
It's just looked at.
They would bring up that history, even though he quote unquote got off.
Nobody. I have yet to see an article where somebody brought up that history.
I saw one on NBC. I think it was
cited for vandalism, released on a citation. Damn, I can't imagine. I'm really gonna say this is this is the reality for most minorities in this country. I can't imagine doing what he did, being caught by the police, and being let off on a citation that easily.
What if?
I can't fathom that ending that way for me.
I'm not even gonna throw out a popular name for you, right? What if this was Michael Thomas? That's not an extremely popular. Like, he's just getting into the limelight.
Okay, let me tell you how this would go if this was Michael Thomas.
Hollywood Brown, Jarvis Landry.
Michael Thomas could do. That's a Hollywood Brown in Beverly Hills. That's funny. Michael Thomas could do the same thing, and there'd be more digging into what was in his system. Was he under influence of any drugs? Was he drinking?
Well, that was reported with Julian Edelman.
Yeah,
that he was drinking.
Okay, initially,
which we know because
right.
we've seen him in public just sort of wild out. But everyone just like, Barstool. You know what I mean? Like, he's that kind of dude.
It's
There's a whole think about it. Think about it. There is a whole website in Barstool dedicated to this kind of stuff where it's cool to do. Imagine if
frat boys being
is there a black version of Barstool?
No, because we can't do that stuff.
If there was, how would it be received?
As ignorant,
what would it be called? Like,
I don't even know. It would be maybe I would call it "How to Have Bad Things Happen to You by the Police After Doing Questionable Behavior." Sounds like a long title, but that's exactly what it would be. Because it wouldn't end the same way, even if you did it. None of it would be
You
happy.
wouldn't even be able to get that website off.
Yo, there was literally last year. I think it was last year, a couple years ago. Somebody sent me a video.
Yeah.
This is kind of the point I'm going to. There was a white dude who was in L.A. and he was in a high-speed chase, and he was being chased by the cops. And they got him. They cornered him. He got out of his car, and he was like shirtless, just had like boxers on or something, and was dancing in the middle of the street with all the cops circling around him. And I was like, "Yo, how did he not get shot?" If this was a black or brown dude, it's not ending that way. The instant he jumped out of the car,
you can't run. You could find videos of them not jumping out of the car. The gun is already pointed at them at the minimum. At the minimum. Then they get out. Then they get put on the ground. They get hit a few times. Maybe they get taken to jail. Or maybe they're just unconscious.
If you're lucky. But that's not the fear for most of us.
Like, we've seen. It's not. This is not hyperbole. Like, we've seen this happen.
Right. This is not.
For years.
Years. This happens with Julian Edelman. I don't hear anybody talking about anything about Julian.
If it was Jerome Edelman, what would
Nobody's
happen?
Questioning his character.
Nobody.
Even though he's had questionable things.
By the way, this is someone who needs off-season surgery, I believe, for his shoulder and I think his neck. Like, none of this is registering with people at all. But Odell Beckham.
Yes.
But Odell Beckham does what he did at the national championship game, and everyone's losing their goddamn minds.
Yep.
For 3 straight days.
Odell Beckham giving out cash to some players at LSU.
Which is stupid, by the way.
It was stupid, but I kind of liked it.
Yeah, me too.
Kind of liked him giving the finger to the NCAA.
It was stupid, but I'm here for it.
Like Odell, and this is from me talking to some people who know him. Odell has always struck me as a person that just doesn't know how to chill in the limelight or enjoys the attention of it and gets caught up in the moment. And then I didn't fully see, Brian, the thing with him smacking the security guard's butt and that became a thing.
It's a video in the locker room or whatever. He's trying to tell the security guards telling the players to stop smoking or whatever it is, and Joe Burrow has a cigar and stuff like that, and yeah, Odell sort of just tapped him on the behind.
Why is that such a big deal? Odell, but I've seen people talk about Odell's character and what he's doing and blah blah blah. No matter how you feel about Odell,
this is actually the quote unquote most criminal thing he's done.
Right. All this stuff with Odell. Why is nobody talking about this with Julian Edelman? It hasn't gotten nearly the same as attention.
Julian Edelman is way more reckless in real life.
True story. But here, let's flip it to the other side. Let's talk about what the people who are going to defend this, that feel uncomfortable with what we're saying, are going to say. Oh well, Odell Beckham was a higher pick and a much more higher profile player.
Yeah, but Julian Edelman's a champion, and the way people sort of uphold
how he should carry himself, right?
Right, and the way people uphold champions to this standard. We have Boomer Esiason saying at the end of 2018 or 19, saying that he's a Hall of Famer. And you and I did a whole thing about that, where you said if he was black, he'd basically be Jericho Cotchery, and numbers wise, that's not untrue. What are we talking about here? You know what I mean? Obviously Odell Beckham is being held to a higher standard than Julian Edelman. Why? Because he's a better player? Because he's not a white dude? What are we really talking about here?
Yeah. Yeah, why is he not being criticized for that? Why is this not happening? I do feel like it's really annoying in how things get covered and certain people get looked at as being the people that, hey, they're problematic, but this person isn't problematic, or we label them as a champion because they fit into this realm. And it's no, man, this, enough is enough. Julian Edelman doesn't get a pass for crappy behavior. He doesn't do that. You want to talk about people conducting themselves as professionals, it should go for Odell. It should go for Julian Edelman. But the conversation hasn't been a lot about Julian Edelman. And don't give me this stuff about he's not as high as a profile. He's a Super Bowl champion. Some of you guys have lauded him. You said he should be in the Hall of Fame. Well, act like a damn Hall of Famer. Jumping on a car and being drunk, and all you get is a citation?
Yeah.
If I was drunk tomorrow and jumped on a car, let me tell you something. I'm not getting just a citation. And I got a lot more to worry about than a citation.
Yeah, and AccuWeather is also going to be get out of here.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
But Julian Edelman is going to just show up to training camps and be oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Not it's not okay.
And the thing that bugs me out is that people are not – he will be asked more – Odell Beckham will be asked more about his sort of deal than Julian Edelman will when we go back to training camp. And that's the shit that we're going to be fighting about all year long. I'm too young to be a curmudgeon. But
but you've always been.
It's coming. It's coming.
Oh, it's here.
Yeah. I'm we gotta expose certain things.
We got to. Yeah. So just the coverage of different athletes is absolutely disappointing at that.
Now let's have some fun.
Yeah. Before we get out of here,
let's have some fun.
Third round of NBA All-Star voting.
And our final picks.
And I would like to note that there have been a lot more voting, people voting still 11-year-old Bryans in this, as Taco Fall is 6th in front court voting still, and Alex Caruso is now up to 4th in guard voting. You guys voting 11-year-old Brian, stop it. Please. Please stop. A lot of stuff is pretty much the same. I don't have too much to say. I'm going to run through my picks really quickly, who I have. And basically, Brian and I really have the same picks. We don't really differ in any way on this at all. I will say I did have one switch I might make in the Western Conference. I'll run through mine. Backcourt in the East Side, Kemba, Trae Young, Jaylen Brown, Kyle Lowry, Bradley Beal, Spencer Dinwiddie, Malcolm Brogdon. That's who you had for that. Is that
no.
That's who you had for
So this is because I'm gonna show you because these are my final cuts, right? I already know who I want, so this is not a scenario where I'm thinking about it last minute. But for backcourt,
I have a switch I might make in the West, but go ahead.
So for backcourt, Kemba Walker is a starter to me. Trae Young, I guess, is a starter.
It's Trae Young. I don't even understand how this is debatable.
I get he's an all-star, but starter.
That's fine if you want to tell me he's not a starter. I'm fine with that.
Okay, fine. He's not a starter.
Fine.
How about that?
Whatever.
He's not a starter.
I don't really care, but okay.
Kemba Walker and Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry's my other starter, right? So I have 5 definites each side, backcourt, frontcourt. And here's where we're going to get to the final, the ending, right? So Kemba Walker is a lock. Kyle Lowry's a lock. Those are my starters. Jaylen Brown is an all-star to me. Trae Young is an all-star to me. Bradley Beal is an all-star to me. That's 5. The last spot, if there is one, we'll get to that in a bit, is between 2 others. Frontcourt, Giannis is in. He's a starter. Joel Embiid is a starter. Jimmy Butler's a starter. Pascal, Bam Adebayo, Domantas Sabonis. 6 locks. Now I have one more spot, right? It can go to 1 of 4 people. Who do you think I'm going with? There is Spencer Dinwiddie. Who would you go with, and who do you think I'm going with? Spencer Dinwiddie, Malcolm Brogdon, Nikola Vucevic, Andre Drummond.
Because all our picks are the same until that, and I do have down to this last spot too. And this is the.
Is it one of those 4?
It is one.
Oh, I did it for both of us. Look at that.
Yeah. For me, I have to pick of those 4.
Yes.
Right now, as of today, I'm giving that spot to Malcolm Brogdon.
Really?
Yes.
I'm giving it to Vucevic.
Yeah.
I'm giving it to Nikola because I don't think Orlando is getting enough sort of respect of what they're doing, and Nikola's balling out. Like his numbers are better than Spencer Dinwiddie's. He was my other option. I had Spencer Dinwiddie there last time we did this. That recently changed because it's sort of been a little more inefficient lately. And look, Jonathan Isaac is gone, and they just beat the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's I actually. I don't have Drummond in here, even though he's having a fantastic.
I wanted to. I really wanted to.
But I think Dinwiddie's tailed off a little bit. But Brogdon to me has been the steadiest all season. That's why I'm going with Brogdon. I do see your point for Vucevic. I'm fine with that. But I think I'd put another guard and I'd go with Brogdon. I really liked him. I still think the Bucks should never have let him go.
And to reiterate, the starters for me, and you got to give us your 5 starters. I have Kemba, Kyle Lowry, Giannis, Joel Embiid, Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, who I think could be a top 5 MVP candidate.
My starters would be Kemba, Trae Young. Yeah, I'm starting Trae Young. Giannis, Embiid, Butler. Those are my starters. All right, to the West.
To the West.
Which I think is a lot easier in terms of locks. For starters, my starters are Doncic, Harden, LeBron, AD, and Kawhi Leonard.
Okay.
Even though I know it's questionable him playing, but I'm going to put him in there. You could tell me Jokic, he's come on strong. I'm fine with that.
I have the excuse me. Jesus Christ. I have the same starting 5, but I'm leading. Jokic, I almost put him over Kawhi.
But that's debatable, and I'm fine if you want to flip that. I'm totally fine with that. Totally fine with that. Are you okay? Yeah.
I just got to clear my throat a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Let me clear my throat. You probably don't even know
Jesus
that song.
Christ. Dame Lillard, he's in. Backup guard off the bench.
Yep.
So we got Luka Doncic, James Harden as the backcourt starting guards. Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell. Chris Paul is an all-star to me. It's between him and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think it's Chris Paul's because of how impactful he's been. But Shai Gilgeous is like, if you want to put him in over Chris Paul, I'm not fighting you. If you want to put them both in, I might not fight you.
Chris Paul is there for me. I got him in.
Devin Booker?
Last time we spoke, I had him. I am leaning towards taking a spot away from the guard and giving it to Brandon Ingram, but I could also replace somebody I had in the forward. I might take him out now, too. I'll get to that in a second.
I'm going to leave that at undecided for me for now, and here's why.
Yeah.
Because we go to front court. LeBron's a lock. AD's a lock. Those are starters, as we mentioned. Kawhi Leonard. Nikola Jokic. Brandon Ingram is in for me. His numbers are too good.
Lately, he's pushed in. I think I have him in now, and I think that either maybe puts Booker out, or there's a guy we had in here before that's not on the list. We had Cat on here. Cat just came back. I don't know if his numbers are really good in the time he wasn't there, but I think it just depends on whether you're going to have more forwards or more guards in this. I think Ingram's done enough now to be in. I really do. He had almost a 50 piece the other night with 8 rebounds and 9 assists. He was fantastic. I watched that entire game.
If you want to put Towns in, I'm not going to kill you. Here's why. Paul George has played 26 games this year. Towns played 24.
I think they're
and
both.
If Paul George is an all-star, I think you have a strong case for Karl Anthony Towns.
I think I'm leaning to going 7 big men and going Ingram, Towns, and I'm taking Booker out. Phoenix is faded. I wanted Booker to get in.
Same.
But I don't
I didn't want him to get in. But
I kind of would want to see him. I wasn't rooting, but I was rooting for him. I think, I'm now going with I think I'm going Ingram and Towns, 7 front court players, 5 back court players, Doncic, Harden, Lillard, Mitchell, Chris Paul. That's where I stand. I think my 5. Ingram's done enough in the last 2 weeks since we last did this for me to say, yeah, I think he's in.
I was trying to see if I could make a DeMar DeRozan case because the Spurs are right there. I even flirted with a Ja Morant case.
There's a case for Ja Morant. I think he deserves to be in the conversation, but I wouldn't put him in.
I flirted with a Ja Morant case.
Let me tell you something.
That rookie of the year
is
run
locked.
It's
over.
It's
and
over.
I was watching last night them play the Cavs.
Granted, they're the Cavs.
Doesn't matter. Ja Morant right now is so good, and I can't keep being mad that the Knicks couldn't at least get the number 2 pick because he's so good.
I mean, RJ.
I liked him. He ain't Ja Morant though.
No, I know.
Not right now. Ja Morant just has a good feel for the game. I saw that in college.
I
did like him. I did like him coming out.
I worry about the sort of crash and burn, high intensity.
We'll see.
Athleticism.
People, I did say this when he came out of college. It's funny. People compare Dennis Smith Jr. more to Westbrook than I thought they gave him the credit for. But I thought he was a evolved version of Westbrook in terms of he shoots better.
He's Russell Westbrook with self-awareness.
That's pretty good. He shoots better. He's got that high motor, and he's a much better passer than I expected. He's really good.
Yeah. So we have our All-Stars.
We have our All-Stars. So that's it. Let us know what you think, what your All-Stars are.
One time for your mind, one time. One time for your mind, one time.
All right, one time for your mind. Bring it back, Brian. What you got for us this week? He's got coughing.
Presumptively, if I don't die here. Kevin Hart's documentary. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it.
You haven't seen this yet?
Nope.
I think Kyrie Irving needs to watch it.
Why would that be?
I think Kyrie Irving needs to watch it because it's called Don't Fuck This Up. And Kyrie Irving's kind of fucking it up right now. So Kevin Hart, I'm not super intrigued by Kevin Hart today in the way that I was early last decade.
Mm-hmm.
But I respect most of all his work ethic. I do think that the sort of quote unquote crimes that he's committed, you know what I mean? Like, I think he's gotten a lot of shit for it. And he talks about it there, just sort of dealing with the immoral stuff, obviously with his wife, and then the old homophobic tweets that the Oscars called him out for and wanted him to apologize, and he didn't kowtow to that. And he really opens up about the whole thing. Like, it really looks into, without giving too much away, basically there's cameras around him all the time, at every moment, every meeting that's going on or whatever, because I guess he wanted to really, like, do this. It's 6 parts, 20 to 30 minutes each. It's good. I watched the whole thing in a couple of sittings, and it was pretty good. I liked it way more than I thought I would, and I had a few takeaways from it. One of them being that I could work harder than I even do now. I definitely could. And I respect him for that. 2, Kyrie Irving should probably watch this because the way that he's sort of handling things, ultimately, like Kevin Hart, with the Oscar stuff in particular, where he was basically being lambasted for all the things about just the homophobia, and he basically didn't want to apologize and put out multiple videos, and his publicist, you see the conversations with him, and they're pretty intense in the documentary, talking about how he sort of mishandled the situation. But he wasn't ultimately wrong, I guess, his intention and what he was saying, but the way you handle certain things matters too, right?
Yep.
People are going to listen with their ears and eat with their eyes, so appearance matters. And when it comes to Kyrie Irving, I think that the way he sort of handled things recently, is he wrong in what he's saying? I don't know. I'm not at liberty to really say whether he's right or wrong. Only he knows that. The organization kind of knows that. I don't think we know it to that level that he does. But we can agree that he can handle things a lot better than what he's doing right now. And this is sort of the knock that I've had on him, other people have had on him, just sort of how he handles things, how he is, the leadership, quote unquote. I think he could learn a lot from sort of watching this documentary. I'm saying that kind of jokingly, but I do encourage people to watch it, though. The Kevin Hart documentary is good. It's something I may go back and watch. And a couple of his stand-ups that they highlight there, I'm probably going to go back and watch. Because now, you know, as you go older, more things come out and you see things differently. And I kind of want to see Yeah, and I want to see, because his 2011 stand-up in particular, I think that was the Laugh at My Pain one. That one was very good, but it got played out so quickly because everyone kept quoting the all right, and all the stuff he was saying, and that got lost in context of like, okay, now that I have this from 2019, 2020, let me go back and watch that from 2011 with sort of a different, more developed perspective.
Okay, might have to check that out. One time for
and
your
watch it with Marguerite.
I'll have to do that. One time for your mind. This is interesting because I makes you think about how are you sleeping. You know, have you ever wanted anything to help you sleep? Do you take anything to help you sleep? Some people do. Some people do sleeping pills. Some people do different things.
This is something I think a lot about. I get mad at myself when I let myself go to bed at like 1 a.m. Like I try not to go to bed that late because if I could sleep every night from 12:30 to like 8 a.m., if I can get 7.5, 8 hours, that'd be
good. I'm good with that
ideal.
about now. But up to 70 million Americans suffer from chronic insomnia, which I did not know. So now I found this out. I read a lot of tech news, and there's this French startup, health tech startup that has this thing that's the Ergo Night headband. It's a headband you put on. It helps people fall asleep 40% faster. It's going to be released later this year. And how it works is it's a Ergo Night. It's a padded headband. It measures your EEG via an app and uses games and text to control how the brain waves that impact sleep. And so apparently you like look at this. It's hooked up to your phone. You connect it. You play these games, and supposedly when you go to sleep, it also helps track your sleep patterns and all this other stuff. And it makes it easier for you at this time. Now, I don't know how exactly they came up with the number of 40%, because that was the thing that was to me. It's like, okay, how am I supposed to know that this is going to make me sleep 40% easier, right? Or faster? Like, I don't know.
Right.
But I found it interesting. People are always looking for stuff to sleep. So if you're looking for something to help you sleep in 2020, you can look out for this. This Ergo Night. You going to buy it?
I should.
Are you one of the 70 million Americans that suffer from insomnia?
See, here's the thing. I don't think we know ourselves that well, because I think that when you ask certain people these things, they'll be inclined to say no. They'll be like, oh, I'm fine for the most part. But I don't think we subconsciously realize how fucked up most of us are.
Well, yeah. I sleep. Yeah, you're right.
Like if you ask most
people.
If you ask a lot of addicts if they're addicts, are they really going to say
like,
yes?
No, they're going to be like, no, I'm good.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's just addicts on, like, it can be
not laughing at people who are addicts.
Right. It can be alcohol. It could be porn. It could be cocaine. It could be weed. Whatever.
It's anything you could be addicted to.
Yeah.
Right.
It can be working out.
Right. And you have problems with anything, right? Like sleeping, you might not be conscious or really aware of it in looking at it in that way. So
yeah.
it is interesting, that there are people trying to do stuff. So anytime I see things around tech about is really training your brain during the day to help you sleep better at night. Found it pretty interesting. Check it out. It's the Ergo Night.
And there's another app that Joe Rogan has posted about that does sort of the same thing, and I want to try and find it and pull it up.
But I do find it interesting.
It's like you attach it to you, and it monitors how you sleep, and it tells you how much sleep you're actually getting and things like that.
Yeah.
But there are more apps for this now that I should probably get because I want to make sure I get my sleep.
So if you want to do that, you can check that out. That's the Ergo Night headband. All right, that's it for this episode of the Ain't Hard to Tell Podcast, episode 107. You know how to follow us. Find us. Please subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll be back with more for the rest of the month. And be sure to check out our extra bonus content on Patreon. For Brian Fonseca, I'm Dex Henry. Until next time, y'all. Peace.